this world is such a and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like.
Tupac has been speaking for years, but most people just brushed it off. They said he was bitter, that it was just beef, drama, old wounds from the East Coast versus West Coast mess. But now, with everything that's coming out about Diddy, Tupac's words are starting to sound less like rants and more like warnings. And the truth might have been right there all along, but nobody was ready to hear it.
Now, when I see Biggie, it's not going to be like we're going to attack him every time. I might be in a good mood, and I might not want to be going, this is so minor. This is not about me and Biggie. Everybody keep talking about it. Y'all making this nigga bigger than he is. Do you hear me fucking about this? Is about this is a major plan, a major strategy. That was the impetus or the start or the...
Tupac wasn't the kind of man to stay quiet. He said what he felt, no filter. He moved how he wanted. He stood his ground. And if he thought you were shady, he said it to your face. The guy didn't play nice to protect feelings or careers. That's what made him dangerous. He didn't fit in. He refused to be controlled. And that's exactly what the industry couldn't handle.
Because you are sort of known for having a big mouth.
Yeah.
No offense.
I am, though. And I don't mind either. I know people feel like that. But I don't care. You know what I mean? This is how I feel. And then I'm in the business, right?
Now let's rewind a little. Before things exploded into the full-on East Coast versus West Coast war, there was unity, or at least something close to it. There were collabs, shows, and mutual respect. And one of those collaborations that made serious noise was Tupac and Diddy's rising star, Biggie. At that time, Biggie was hungry, but Pac was already shining. So what did Biggie do? He reached out to Tupac, and Pac, being the real one he was, didn't just show love, he embraced him like a brother.
Tangeray is getting hella strong. Money, holes, and clothes. Blood smoke coming out the nose.
From that point, the two became close. It wasn't just music. They laughed together, performed together, and chilled together. It was deeper than rap. It was family. And through that friendship, Diddy entered the mix. But somewhere along the line, something shifted. The vibe changed. And the love turned into suspicion.
Diddy, he was jealous of the relationship between Tupac and Big. And he also went on to say that Diddy, he wanted to be friends with Tupac, but Tupac wasn't interested.
Now, here's where things start to get real messy. On November 30, 1995, Biggie invited Tupac to a studio session in Manhattan. Seemed like another regular night in the city, just a bunch of artists making music. But Tupac noticed something weird. Diddy kept calling his phone nonstop. Not once or twice. Over and over again. He wanted to know where Tupac was, when exactly he'd arrive, what time he was stepping in. The way he was checking in, it didn't feel like concern. It felt calculated. And the second Tupac stepped into that building, he was ambushed. 3 armed men came at him. He tried to fight back. He even reached for one of their guns, but they didn't care. They shot him 5 times and jacked 40 grand worth of jewelry. That wasn't just a robbery, that was a hit. And Tupac knew it.
It's December 1st, 1994. The rare, raw footage of Tupac Shakur in a wheelchair the morning after he was shot in Manhattan. Despite 5 bullet wounds, the iconic rapper is on his way to court to hear the verdict in his sexual assault case.
From that moment, he didn't hold back. He pointed straight at Diddy and Biggie. He said they knew it and they planned it. Said the whole thing was to eliminate him so they could rise higher without him standing in the way.
I have proof, things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was going to go ahead about my life.
And when Diddy came out denying it, Tupac laughed it off. He didn't buy a single word. Then Tupac signed again with Death Row. And you know him, he doesn't let stuff go. The first chance he got, he hit the studio and fired back with Hit 'Em Up. That wasn't just a diss track. That was a declaration of war. He dragged Diddy's name, claimed he slept with Biggie's wife, and made sure no one in Bad Boy slept easy again. It was venom in lyrical form, and it got personal fast. But he didn't stop there. He dropped Against All Odds. In that one, he took the gloves off completely and called Diddy out again, directly pointing fingers at him for the studio ambush. Tupac was saying it plainly. No metaphors, no subliminals. He believed Diddy had something to do with the attempt on his life, and he wanted the whole world to know. And after that, things only got worse. At Jermaine Dupri's birthday party, Diddy ran into Suge Knight. That didn't go smoothly. There was tension in the air, heated words, things escalated. Security tried to handle it, but the drama spilled outside the club.
Anyway, they had like their little words, right? And they went outside, and they went in the middle of the street.
They were in the middle with Puff
The
and
middle
Suge?
middle of the street, Puff and Suge.
Wow.
Outside in Atlanta. And
this is at your party.
yeah.
Is it a calm conversation or they?
No, it's not a calm conversation.
Okay. But
It's
not
a
just them.
It's a very hostile conversation.
And in the chaos that followed, a man named Big Jake got shot. That incident shook Tupac even more. It added to his suspicion. It added fuel to the fire. And once again, he didn't stay silent. He pointed back to Diddy. At this point, Pac wasn't just ranting. He was connecting the dots. But the more he talked, the more people told him to hush. Because in the industry, when someone starts pulling the curtain back too much, they become a liability. They don't get invited to the parties anymore. They don't get protection. They get watched. They get targeted. And Tupac, he was loud. He was passionate. He moved with his heart. He called names. He didn't back down. So when he got gunned down after that Mike Tyson fight in Vegas, people felt the pain, but they weren't surprised. The setup felt too clean. The way it went down, it didn't feel random.
Rapper and actor Tupac Shakur is dead at the age of 25, just about a week after sustaining 4 bullet wounds last Saturday night in Las Vegas. Shakur spent the weekend in the hospital on arrest.
And the thing is, even after all these years, Diddy still says he had nothing to do with it. He's been denying any connection. But people are starting to talk again. A new wave of questions is coming up because now, years later, whispers have turned into accusations, serious ones.
There were so many rumors and things for years. I was more concerned just about the well-being of my artists and also myself and my family.
It's being alleged that Diddy paid $1 million to have Tupac taken out. That's not fan theories. That's coming from people who claim to have receipts, people who knew what was going on behind the scenes, people who were there.
Well, the story that has circulated was that after Tupac got killed, Puffy allegedly gave the money to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefe and them.
Yes.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire.
So now the big question is this: was Tupac right all along? Was he trying to warn us? Was all his shouting, all his raw anger, all his diss tracks just his way of saying, look, they're coming for me? Because now it's looking like the same people who tried to silence him may have actually done it. But one thing's for sure, Tupac was never afraid to tell it like it is. And now with these new revelations, maybe the world will finally start listening. So what do you think? Do you believe Tupac was set up from day one? Was Diddy connected to all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.